Good day, everyone. I am presenting on a topic titled The Evolution of Medieval Romanesque and Byzantine to Gothic Architecture, Recourse to the Darwin'S theory. First of all, let me go through the abstract. The study revealed the uncanny relationship in Darwin's theory of evolution and the evolution of medieval architectural forms from the Byzantine through the Romanesque to the Gothic, as can be observed from architectural history. The Byzantine architecture came in time before the Romanesque, and the Romanesque before the Gothic. The Byzantine came just after the classic architecture. And I remember that a major Byzantine architecture was the Hagia Sophia, designed and constructed by Isidorus of Miletus and Anthemius of Tralles in 313 AD. Then shortly after the death of the Byzantine was the Romanesque, which was a more sturdy architecture. Then following that was the Gothic architecture. And that was how it proceeded in time. So this paper is an attempt to examine the relationships between the three types of architecture I just described and their structural components in time, how it evolved, and the relationships between this evolution spelled out by the theory of evolution. The paper appraised medieval, Byzantine, Romanesque, and Gothic styles and pointed out that major features of the Romanesque are copious in the Gothic, but are inflected in response to the demands of the era. Yes, of course, if you study the Gothic architecture, you will simply see that they are reminiscent of Romanesque, because there are certain aspects of the Romanesque that are obvious in the Gothic, but this time they have been more developed because of the demands of the era. Then going forward, the study wants to examine the relationship between these structural modifications against the backdrop of the Darwin's theory. The Darwin's theory is a theory that persists that trend in evolution is as a result of the preceding genre adopting some of the qualities and characteristics of its predecessor. And those qualities and characteristics that are adopted or inherited are by a process called beneficial selection. And after it has been selected, it becomes innate part of the predecessor, and that they have been obtained by natural selection. That is just a simple, very simple explanation of the Darwin's theory. And now, how does it relate to this notion, which constitute the discourse of this discussion? But before going further, I want to contextualize my discussion within literature. The studies of humanistic aspect of architecture, which is what my presentation is about, because I'm relating architecture to the Darwin's theory. In other words, I'm relating stone to flesh. I'm relating architecture to biology. But there have been write-ups about this relationship between human configurations and architecture, stone and flesh, architecture and biology, from history. Indeed, Vitruvius, in his 10 books on architecture, depicts the topic of the body as a representative of humanistic traditions of architecture. And since then, this tradition has been continuously promoted, as can be seen from the slide. The body as a representative of humanistic tradition of architecture. And this is the diagram showing this. Then following this is the medieval architecture. A very strong example of the medieval architecture is the Hagia Sophia. Like I said, it was designed by Anthemius and Isidorus, commissioned by Constantine in 313 AD. This is the building, and this is the dome, with drums underneath. Following this, we have the Romanesque architecture. This is the Romanesque architecture, which follows the Byzantine in time, as can be seen the vaults, the roofs, and the vault in these characteristics, the Romanesque architecture. The Romance architecture is sturdy and thick, lumpy, and evoke a sense of mass rather than volume, which could be seen. Biologically, this support system resembles a mass of muscles with less developed bony skeletons. And, as can be seen here, this is an example of the Romanesque architecture. You can see the lump, sturdy and lumpy, and evoke a sense of mass rather than tradition, which is beams and columns. And this in a way can be likened to lower animals, such as lower mammals, such as the dolphins. You can see the muscles, the muscular body system of the Romanesque is very close to that of the amphibian mammals, the dolphin. But this can further be this study goes further to be seen in another perspective. Looking at this is an example of Gothic architecture. You can see that the ribs are much more developed, and which can be likened to the musculoskeletal system of man. Can be likened to the musculoskeletal system of man. So while the Romanesque is likened to the dolphin, while the Romanesque, yes, is likened to the dolphins, the Gothic is likened to the musculoskeletal system of man. And so we can see the development that man, according to the theory of evolution, is much more developed than dolphin. Likewise, the Gothic is much more developed in time than the Romanesque, which brings us to the conclusion that the study attempts at understanding the relationships between the Byzantine, the Romanesque, and the Gothic in time, vis-a-vis the backdrop of the Darwin's theory. So, in conclusion, the study opines that the slender additions lends credence to the feminine qualities of the Gothic, and that the Gothic architecture evolves from the Byzantine and Romanesque, and that the structural forms of the Gothic is an advanced genre of the Romanesque. Lastly, the study explained this natural order of evolution, taking recourse to the Darwin's theory of evolution, and in this way, the study concludes that the Gothic is superior to the Romanesque, and that it is a structural and that the structural components are much more developed. Thank you very much for listening.